events around the world. Of course, lots of papers focusing on Libya still.
Indeed, and I can go directly to the UK paper, The Independent, and it has a headline there, revealed MI6 saved Saif Gaddafi from a death threat. Now, it's reporting British intelligence and Scotland Yard were involved in an international operation to protect Muammar Gaddafi's son from an Islamist plot to assassinate him on British soil. Those events date to 2004, and that was the time, basically, Libya was emerging from the cold. Saif, as far as the Brits were concerned, was a key figure in trying to establish, would it end its search for nuclear capacity.
And he was based in London for several years at that stage.
Yes, of course. And the paper says MI6 was told by Saif that a terrorist cell linked to Qatar was planning an attack from Paris. Now, no evidence was presented for that charge, but that story will obviously develop.
Yeah, we're hearing more and more about the links between various countries and the Gaddafi regime. Lots of that coming out now, including, I believe, in the next story that you're going to bring up from the New York Times.
New York Times, this is incredible. Look at this. China sought to sell arms to Gaddafi, documents suggest. Now, that was in the final weeks of Muammar Gaddafi's battle with rebels. Apparently, Chinese state companies offered to sell the dictator weapons, and that's in apparent violation of UN sanctions. The Chinese companies suggested they could be delivered through third-party countries such as Algeria or South Africa. A Libyan military spokesman is quoted in the New York Times there as saying, well, anybody, any country that's violated sanctions will have poor business prospects in Libya. And now these documents, incredibly, were found in a bin by the Globe and Mail's journalist, Graham Smith. That's a Toronto paper. And he says he found them in a bin where many Gaddafi regime officials lived.
I mean, they haven't been authenticated yet, but from reporting in Libya myself, there are lots of debris from the regime spewed around. I've seen lots of papers lying around and in the streets for people to pick up and make what they will of them. Obviously, then the authenticity of these documents needs to be verified.
He found them on Friday and over the weekend because they're in Arabic. They've been examined. And now he's saying in the Globe and Mail that the document suggests China may have played a double game in the Libyan war, claiming neutrality, but covertly helping Muammar Gaddafi.
Absolutely fascinating stuff there. Now, Nick, we're going to stay with China, this time going to the China Daily, and a very different story. The one concerning making money and getting rich.
Well, Deng Xiaoping said, apparently, in the early 80s that to get rich is glorious. And the cover story for the China Daily, I thought, was fascinating. Rich are dying to make it big. And it says that the super rich in China are committing suicide at a higher rate than the general population. And since 2010, there's been a 9% increase in the super rich. And it's quite concludes its piece by saying, well, aren't you better off poor? After a long list of basically businessmen in China who've made loads of money, but then has seen a boom and bust cycle, and their investments have gone down the swanny.
So money not buying everyone happiness, clearly there.
And also on the China Daily, we've got a picture of a man also somewhat related to money. He's called Dominique Strauss-Kahn. We know all about him here at France 24, and the former IMF boss there on the China Daily front page. A moment to reflect, a photo of him. He's also on the front page of the Wall Street Journal Europe. It's saying from court in New York to courtyard in Paris, Strauss-Kahn back home. El País here, just show it to you, the front page of El País has that photo of Dominique Strauss-Kahn, and it has a caption, un regreso perturbador, which translates as a disturbing return.
Absolutely, returning into the eye of a media storm, Dominique Strauss-Kahn back in France. Thank you very much indeed, Nicholas Rushworth, with that flick through the world's newspapers, our international press review here on France 24. And you can see that press review later on. It'll be on our website, france24.com. Meanwhile, time for a reminder of our top international news stories now. And in Libya,